Tell us your name and ask the question.
Thank you, Swamiji. My name is Girish. And you've talked about the parallels between Advaita Vedanta and Madhyamaka. And, Shunyata and Purnata being two sides of the same coin, essentially. But I'm wondering about the concept of dependent origination. How does that map into Advaitic concepts or paradigms? Or
It's a big question. And I'll give you a short answer to it. Why I said big question, I'm reminded of a similar question I had asked to a right person too. He was the head of one of the 4 great orders of Tibetan monasticism. There is the Gelugpa, which is headed by the Dalai Lama, but there is the Sakyapa, there is the Kagyupa, and there's the Nyingmapa, the Nyingma tradition. So the Sakya tradition, their main monastery in India is near our monastery near Dehradun in India. So it's within walking distance. There's a huge Tibetan monastery there. And I went there and I met the head of the Sakya lineage at that time, called the Sakya Trizin, who has passed now. Now the next person is in charge now. But I met the earlier one. And there was a long queue of people waiting to take his blessings. I was a newly minted monk from the Ramakrishna order. So I was in the queue. And when my turn came up, so there's this very powerfully built, he's big and with tremendous charisma. You can see the power radiating of this person. Mostly they were Tibetans and a few Indians, and I was there in that line also. So when I went up to him, mostly people were asking for worldly blessings, and somebody wanted this or that, and he would give them, he would bless them. Now I had a question, same question that Girish had. What is the connection between, what is the relationship between Brahman and Shunya, the emptiness and the Purnata of Advaita? Advaita Vedanta and Madhyamaka, what is the relationship? Brahman and emptiness. I said who I am, and then I asked the question. I bowed down to him. He looked at me and he smiled. And he said, "Big question, no time." But your question was more precise. How would something like dependent origination be worked into, or what parallel would it have in Advaita Vedanta? Now notice, according to Nagarjuna, dependent origination and Shunyata are the same thing. In fact, at the very beginning of the Mula Madhyamaka Karika, the original text, Nagarjuna says, what is called Pratitya Samutpada, that is what we call emptiness. What is called dependent origination. Dependent origination is very simple. I mean, if you go into the 12 linked chain of dependent origination, that's more complicated. But basic idea is this arising, that arises. This not arising, that does not arise. Now, if you want nirvana, the samsara is arising clearly. You want nirvana, freedom from the samsara. You have to find out what arising makes the samsara arise. If you can stop that from arising, this will also not arise. Basically, that's the idea of dependent origination. And therefore, Nagarjuna uses shunyata in 2 senses. This world of samsara is also shunya, empty. We have to realize that. And the ultimate reality is also empty, shunya. But in what sense the ultimate reality is empty? In what sense this samsara is empty? In what sense is this samsara empty? Dependent origination. This immediately maps, if you want to map at all, it maps onto the Advaitic concept of Maya. Samsara is Maya. And what is the nature of Maya? From a Buddhistic analysis, it would be dependent origination. That's it. I mean, I can just this
Thank
much.
you.